Centrifuge Training Vehicle Close Quarters Battle, or VCQB as they call it. This class is by far the most important training for law enforcement officers and civilians alike who want to be better prepared for a situation that may warrant the use of deadly force. Okay, before we get started, a little background about me. I've been on patrol for about 3 years for my local city, and I attended this class in December of 2021. It is now December of 2022 at the time of recording this video, and I use this stuff pretty much every shift, um, on and off duty. I fortunately have not been involved in a shooting, but I'm constantly using this stuff every day. So VCQB, what is it? What's it about? What's going on? So it was a 2-day class held in Dallas, Texas at Range 35. They also offer a 5-day, but I didn't have the time and or money to spend on that. So I wanted to take that eventually, but for now I've only attended the 2-day. The only real difference that I can tell is the 5-day incorporates the use of a patrol carbine as well as the handgun, as well as some other like minor things. It's more geared towards people who are going to go out and try to instruct this to their departments. So I was really impressed by the level of safety and attention to detail that was presented in this class. It was very relaxed and laid back. We all had a really good time, and the instructors were cracking jokes, and it was just a really good time. But you could tell at the end of the day, safety was of the highest priority of everything we were doing. So what did I bring out there? Obviously, we had our clothes and stuff like that. It was probably like 20 to 30 degrees in the morning, and it warmed up a little bit throughout the day. But you'll see in the videos we were pretty much all wearing jackets and hoodies and stuff. Um, so there was no limitations on the type of equipment that you could use. Obviously, the only things that were really required was obviously some sort of duty belt or holster that could mount onto any sort of non-duty belt, and a holster to throw your gun in, as well as magazine pouches to store extra ammo and stuff. I personally was using my normal duty belt with my issued Safariland holster, Glock 17 MOS with a Trigicon RMR on top. And there were some guys didn't even have any sort of duty belt. They were civilians. They were running an appendix rig for concealed carry because they were there for self-defense shootings as opposed to a law enforcement purpose. So day one, we started out in the classroom. We just went over all sorts of material that was related to the class we were about to take. We went over body-worn camera footage, all stuff found on YouTube, and case studies, as well as statistics of law enforcement shootings and civilian shootings and stuff like that. We also went over diagrams and stuff that would show us the different ways that bullets interact with cars and windshields and stuff like that. So it was a good visual aid at the start of the day for seeing what we were getting into. We spent about hour and a half to 2 hours in the classroom, and then we moved outside and we started out just sending some rounds down range. There's a flat range, just each of us had a target in front of us. We just did some drawing from the holster drills and some reload drills, and then we moved into positional work, so shooting while standing, crouched, as well as laying down, or it wasn't really like prone, but if you were to fall on the ground, how you can still engage a target while on the ground in a safe and effective way. Once we warmed up a little bit, we kind of took a break for a minute and moved into a ballistics test where we just had these cars out there. You probably see some of the videos. Some of the cars have holes in the doors and in the pillars and stuff. What we did was we took various calibers from 9 mil all the way up to I believe it's 7.62 was probably the biggest caliber we used, and we just shot the different parts of the car and saw what the bullets did. You know, your instinct wouldn't tell you that a 9 mil or even a 223 would stop in an A pillar, but surprisingly it does. Once you start sending more rounds into them, obviously that changes. But I'll never forget, we did a couple demos where we'd throw a target on the other side of the car, and the instructor would just send 10, 15 rounds through the B pillar at the target. And at the end of it, the target was completely untouched, even after, 15, 20 rounds going through it. Same thing for the windshields. Before we shot out the windshields, he put a target at the back of the car, had a rifle at the front, and just sent a full mag through the front windshield towards the back of the car. And it was incredible to see the way that the bullets all deflect and, change their trajectory. And again, not a single bullet hit any of the targets that were at the back of the car, even though it's just going through glass. Now, obviously, cars are not going to be definitive hardcover for a long period of time, but, by seeing these tests and, the rest of the class seeing how we utilize the different angles of the car, it's better than having nothing, right? In the academy, we were taught to distance ourselves from the car as fast as possible. Obviously, this changes in every department, but at the time of me going through, we're taught to distance ourselves from the cars as fast as we can, get out and try to find some other cover. But that's not always the case. There's sometimes nothing else around. You might be in an empty parking lot somewhere, and all you have is your car. So might as well learn how to use it properly and get the most bang for your buck out of what you have at your disposal. So after the ballistics test, we moved into single man inside the car. The instructor would go over first what we were doing. He would demonstrate it for us. At this point, we were on a cold range. There was no ammo. Our slides were all taken off our guns, so we all just had our frames, and he just went through all the positions and, went over all the safety concerns and the different little nuance stuff that you want to know when doing this stuff. And then we would go through it ourselves. Again, cold range, no slides on the gun. Once they saw that everybody could do so in a safe manner and there wasn't any issues of us flagging ourselves or flagging anybody else, nobody freaked out. Then we obviously moved into a hot range and we did live fire. Same thing, after that we moved into 2-man, doing the same exact thing. There's obviously more safety concerns that you have to take into account when you're working with 2 people in the car. So again, we did it cold range first, and then once they saw that everybody could be safe about it, we did it live fire. That pretty much included day 1. There was nothing going on after day 1. Just kind of hang out, go get some dinner, and then back at the range early in the morning. I think we were probably getting there again like 6, 7 in the morning the next day. So, going into day 2, it's kind of the same thing at the start. We did a little bit of classroom stuff, just going over BWCs and, again, what we were going over that day. And then the primary focus for day 2 was working just outside the car and utilizing the different angles that the exterior of the vehicle provided us. So again, the instructor went over all of it and, did everything on a cold range, slides off guns, no ammo, and then we would do the same. We'd work through it. We asked our questions, and then once they saw that everybody could do drills in a safe way, we would do it live fire. And this was probably the most active drill I'd ever done before. Obviously the academy can get pretty physically strenuous, but when you start combining PT and running and then having to shoot and put accurate shots on target, it was really good to get out there and, see what you could do. After we did all the exterior vehicle work, we did some combination of interior and exterior where we would start shooting from in the car and then moved outside the car and worked through all the problems that were presented to us. And then at the very end of the day, we did some force on force training with simunition guns. You probably saw that footage at the very start of the video. And it was really good to be able to take what we had just learned and actually apply it to a force on force encounter, because, it's one thing to shoot paper, but then to actually apply the knowledge and keep in mind everything that you've just learned while somebody else is shooting back is something completely different. And it's good to learn that stuff and work through those problems when you are not actually fighting for your life. So at the start of the video, I said that every law enforcement officer needs to take this, as well as civilians if you are in the world of self-defense. And I really do mean that. Going through our shifts at work, 8 to 10 hours, depending on your department and the way y'all work. But we're probably in and or around our cars for 80 to 90% of our shift. And, if we're not inside our car, there is probably one very close by that you will have access to in order to use it as concealment and or cover if you need to. And so the number of shootings that have been going on, involving law enforcement has only been getting worse. The amount of officers killed every year has only gotten worse. And so, hopefully if some more people can go out there and get this training and then take it to work, train their coworkers and stuff and get everybody on board with it, hopefully this stuff can, help prevent further loss of life, not only for us law enforcement officers, but, for us to be able to protect the public out there and do so in a safe and effective manner. So if you're a law enforcement officer out there and you're looking to get some training and have a lot of fun while doing it, I would definitely look into VCQB from Centrifuge. If not them, just go out there and get training, man. Get some rounds down range, go out there shooting, just stay active and always be willing to learn. With all that being said, I hope you found some value out of this video, and let me know of any questions, comments, or concerns you may have in the comments. Thanks.
Back to 10. Eyes, set. That's gang shit.